Well, you guys finally managed to push me into this one. Pizza Tower has been the talk of the gaming community since its release last year in 2023. People have been going crazy over how good it looks, how fun it is, and how absolutely hard the OST hits. Is all the hype warranted, or are people letting the excitement cloud their judgments? I'm here with the only Pizza Tower fanatic I personally know, Average Boy, to find out. Are you ready, my boy?
Ready as ever, Mike. I've loved this game since forever, and I'm absolutely overjoyed to finally be jumping into it. With over 5 years of effort put towards the music, almost 100 total songs, and tons of different genres and themes, there's so much to talk about. Without any further ado,
let us soundtrack dip into the Pizza Tower OST. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mr. Average Boy. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing A-okay. It's great to be talking about video game music with you again. And I'm super happy about it, because today we're talking about one of my favorite games of recent memory, Pizza Tower. I love everything about this Wario-like game, and especially the music.
That's pretty much what I've heard around every corner of the world since this game dropped. The developers Tour de Pizza seem to have struck a major chord with gamers the world over. I've heard pretty much nothing but good things about this one, and it's pretty hard to ignore anything that gets this much positive reception. Not to mention everyone's request that I soundtrack dive or dip into this one. The probability of this one having flown under my radar is virtually microscopic. And I mean, just one glance at the game and you can begin to understand what all the hoopla! Hoopla! Just one glance and you can really begin to understand what all the hoopla's about. But I knew if I was gonna dip into this one, I had to do it right, and I would need someone whose knowledge vastly surpasses mine on this game, hence my boy Average being on the scene. And funny enough, I was actually introduced to Pizza Tower before it became the talk of the town by one of your videos. How fortuitous is that?
Ah, really? Well, I'm honored to have played a part in that.
Well, it's getting to be about that time. Let's dip our toes into this sucker.
Our story starts off in Peppino's Pizzeria, where our protagonist, Peppino Spaghetti, gets confronted with our main antagonist, Pizza Face, who's threatening to blast his pizzeria to smithereens. It's up to Peppino to stop this delectable monstrosity and save his pizzeria from imminent demise.
And to do so, you must reach the top of the titular Pizza Tower and take this mofo down. And that's pretty much the scope of the main story. There's not much nuance in this game's story, which is honestly okay. This game clearly strives to deliver a unique and engaging gameplay experience, jam-packed with amazing music and spectacular animation. And my god, let me just get this out of the way now because it's just so central to the popularity of this game. The animation is freaking incredible.
You couldn't be more right, Mike. Nowadays, you don't often see this pixel art style animation, and the creators have really had all sorts of fun with it. It really is
Hold on, Average, hold on. This music's starting to go off a little bit.
Right. I guess it's a good time to bring up the other pillar of this game's popularity. The music is so damn good.
Dude, for real, how is this intro already getting me this hype? The music is primarily synthesized, which parallels the style of animation and makes it feel like a classic old school video game. It sounds very rock and roll retro based. That sick ass electric guitar in the near latter half really excites a bitch. I'm a little frightened, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Am I gonna survive this review? These songs might make me jam session to death.
Don't worry, Mike. I've been exposed to this OST an insane amount for a long time, and I mean, look at me!
Moving right along, we get to play the actual game, and this is the first time in a while that I'll actually be able to record my own footage. Before we go on, do you guys want a little bit of a sample of what a dull-witted buffoon I am? Well, let me tell you the story of me when I first started playing this game. Don't worry, I'll keep it brief. I bought Pizza Tower on Steam, and when I first booted it up, I played it on my keyboard, because I thought, what the heck, it's a computer game. You're probably intended to play it on a keyboard. So I played it the way the game laid it out for me. Arrow keys to move, Z to jump, X to grab, Shift to dash. For those of you who managed to get used to this, by the way, tip of the hat to you. Unfortunately for me, this wasn't working. It was incredibly discombobulating and frustrating, and for a while, I actually kinda hated this game. There goes my patience for you. But it only took a minute for the gears to actually start turning in my head, and then I realized, you know, sometimes being me is difficult. Quirky. This file select tune is kind of a vibe. It's chock full of synthesized piano and drums and bass, and fun little voice bits too. Got a little bit of funk element to it. It's such a cool vibe to start with. It just opposes the intense, fast-paced-ness of the rest of the game.
That's right. It's definitely different from the rest of the game's hectic soundtrack, and that's not without reason. Almost all of the other songs were made by one of two artists, Mr. Sauceman or Klasky Jito. However, this song was composed by a different artist altogether, Post Elvis, and they bring a totally different vibe to the song. It's chill and funky.
For this track, you kind of get two different versions. The first being the low-toned minimalist style that played when Peppino was just sitting staring at you, and the version that you were just listening to that plays when you finally press a button.
Actually, Mike, you know what happens when you sit staring at Peppino for too long?
No, what happens? So now we finally get to control Sir Peppino. You start off by entering the pizza tower, and we see what I can only describe as a spooky cave area. This music gives an uneasy vibe, sort of a sense of wariness.
I wouldn't personally call myself a fan of this song. It's not really something I'd go searching for to listen to, but it definitely fits the feeling of the tower's bass pretty well. It feels sort of unwelcoming, which, I mean, Peppino's not really welcome here at all, despite that big flashing welcome sign at the beginning.
I agree that in terms of songs that I actively seek out, this is definitely on the low end for me. But this is just the calm before the storm, my friends. And luckily, the storm is not too far. Man, this song is just the most fantastic primer for the rest of the experience. I just can't believe how fun this OST is already starting to be. The main hook is unmistakable. Clearly this is paying homage to Spider-Man 2, baby! Funiculi, funicula, for those who don't know, is a widely well-known famous Italian song. At this point, I think it's probably second to That's Amore for being one of the songs most aggressively associated with pizza, so its inclusion in this game was almost a necessity. In fact, I kinda like how they put this one as like one of the first tracks, almost as if to say, yeah, here's the pizza time thing, we know you wanted it, let's get it out of the way now so we can move on to the actual jammers.
I like this song a lot. Peppino's moveset is a bit much for someone jumping into the deep end for the first time, and a nice song to learn it with is good. I especially like the second half that adds a crazy amount of percussion before slowing back down to a nice fun beat.
They played around with it too. I really like the composition of it. Right now, this is sitting at the top of the list for me. Now we get our first official level, and here's where we get introduced to the leitmotif or reoccurring theme for this game. It seems that there's a distinct love for electric guitars by the composers so far. Things start off very faint, but then slowly but surely, the beat starts to chime in and begins building upon itself, leading to this incredibly sick-ass groove that's just impossible to resist the urge to dance to. The track is fine, but I know that I should reserve my favorite stage trophy till all contestants have been evaluated. That said, next song please. So your goal through each of the levels is just to knock down the big pillar things, and
the big giant pillar thing with the face that's staring right at me, that's all creepy?
Yes, and then this extremely off-putting music plays whenever you start getting close to it.
Yeah, it is a little bit creepy, I'm not gonna lie, it's making me feel just a little bit uncomfortable. You said while I'm close to it? Okay, so what if I go over here? Oh, okay, yeah, that's way better. Yeah, and then I go over here and it starts back up again. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna stay here if that's fine with you. Hey, what's the hold up, man? You're supposed to ram that bitch.
Yeah, come on, Leather Me. We don't have time to waste. Just do it already.
But I don't. Why don't you do it? No, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. You.
Shut up! I'll do it.
Once the pillar is destroyed, you're now given a brief set of time to escape the level before Pizza Face gets you. And this song, let me tell you, this one is...
Oh, step over, Mikey. I got this. I'm the expert on the way this song is supposed to be understood. Since this game takes heavy inspiration from the Wario Land saga, it borrows one of the most well-known and beloved ideas from that series. Normally, when you explore a level, you have the freedom to do so at your own pace. No time limits. Look for treasures and secrets. But once you get to the end, then a timer appears, and you have to make a mad dash back to the beginning to escape in time. And the music was built around this idea. The Wario song, Hurry Up, is made to be creepy and fast-paced to help with that feeling. It's Pizza Time, the Pizza Tower equivalent, starts off with a similar idea, starting off panic-inducing and making you freak out as you start to scramble back to the beginning. However, it takes a slightly different approach by making most of the song high-octane madness. It's fast-paced and awesome, while still keeping up that feeling of, oh, I need to go now. Then, when time starts really running low, the music speeds up even more, letting you know that you're cutting it way too close, before dropping and slowing down to a crawl of only simple percussion. Let me tell you, rocketing forward, desperately trying to make it to the end with just percussion at the end is nerve-wracking. This song is essentially the flagship song of Pizza Tower, and for good reason. It's fast, it's awesome, it's tense, it's nuts.
Well, I mean, I guess all that's left for me to contribute is this. This song is an absolute bombshell. I catch such an adrenaline rush when I dash down the levels and this absolute mix of mayhem plays me out all the way to the end of the level. I'm stoked that we get to hear this in nearly every stage. It is a riot, and it's definitely top of the list worthy. I'm in awe. The titles for these songs I can only describe as the cherry on top of the musical sundae. I love that the team were so carefree and humorous when thinking these up. And there's no real tie to the stage or the song, at least not one that I can see. Any ideas here, Average?
Nope. Level's about pizza, song is called spaghetti, no correlation except maybe Italian food. Wait, I just remembered the level's treasure you can get from the janitor is spaghetti.
Oh! Now it makes perfect sense. The track has a scattering of screams and thunder in it, almost like they were intending this to be a Halloween-themed level. You can see it from the orange-purple color scheme they got going on. All the synthesized orchestration takes so many different approaches here. It can be simple and playful at the beginning, but then transition into a ghoul freak fest, and it's very cool and sounds great. There's one verse that lays down a pretty boss-sounding bass guitar, which is one of the better moments in this track.
Damn, I want my bass sounding like that all day!
This level actually has two different versions of the song, a hot and cold one. Hey, where Katie at?
This is the most Wario song in the entire game. Literally, from being one of the first songs ever conceived for the game to the fact that the main instrument is straight up from the Game Boy Advance. It's a very different feeling from Hot Spaghetti, being energetic and fun, as well as just straight up faster. It's a solid A-tier song for me. Definitely up there, but beaten out by some later songs.
I have to second that. I really like how they adapted this one from the first. It is a bit less dreary and a bit more fun. There's a sort of personal irony I concocted in my head with the titles for these songs. I think that Cold Spaghetti should have been the creepy, spooky track at the beginning of the level, since Cold Spaghetti and creepy scenarios are both generally undesirable, and the Hot Spaghetti title should have been paired with the more enjoyable track. Perhaps this is sort of a subjective point of view though. This one's got a cool vibe to it. It's got some nice saxophone sections, there's portions where you can hear a gust of wind blowing. The setting of this level is emulating a type of Egyptian catacomb, so I see the neat little details they're tossing in here. There's a nice verse where it sounds like empty bottles and silverware or something. It starts to give this song sort of a samba vibe. And the second track for this level pretty much carries over the same opinion I had on the secondary theme for the previous level. Man, this one has an epic beat. Laid it on thick here. The beat is remixed in so many fun ways. I'm picking up on a pattern which I'm sure will be repeated in many of the other levels, where the first half of the level's music is more setting up the general feel of the level, and the deeper you explore into said levels, the tracks have a much more different, sometimes more upbeat quality to them. I'm sure this won't be the case every time though. It may vary depending on what the levels are themed around. I think the beat is mostly what carries this one for me. I don't have much else to say on this.
Okay, now this is where Pizza Tower deviates from the Wario Land inspiration and does its own unique thing. At the end of a level, or rather the beginning of a level, you have the option of running through the Pizza Portal, taking you back to the room where the timer started for a huge point bonus with no extra time added. And with this comes a unique theme song, The Death I Deservioli. If It's Pizza Time is meant to make you feel anxious and crazed running back to the start, this is the song for feeling cocky and confident, seeing the game over threat posed on you and saying,
"You wanna see me do it again?"
It's high speed like it's pizza time, but you're not scrambling over yourself, you are flying and styling on Pizza Face. You just gotta make sure not to mess up, and ending a P rank to this song gets me absolutely pumped. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, well, speak for yourself. He always catches me, and every time that he does, I'm just left there, hollow inside, unsatisfied, knowing I'll never be able to reach the coveted P rank.
But to be fair though, the song, fire!
La here we come. The next song is pretty fire. Get it! This one is pretty standout in terms of melodies. Let me hear it. There's one solo with it that really goes off too. Halfway, it starts to diverge into a sort of hip-hop. Not a turn-off by any means, but it does make me sort of miss the main melody a little bit, so when it jumps back into it, I get pretty into it. I feel like this one's not the greatest, but it is good. I'm putting it second to Funiculi Holiday on the Levels theme lineup.
One of the tasks you have to accomplish in order to receive a P or an S rank in each level is finding all the secret eyes. Each level has 3 hidden somewhere, and when you find them, they'll warp you to a secret room where you must find another eye to escape back into the level. And the motif is changed to be the theme of whichever level you're in, apart from the beginning one, which is just simple percussion. Anyway, this song is a compilation of the first 4 levels themes, from the first floor of the tower. How's it sounding on your end, Mikey?
Pretty good. They bring back the motif for Hot Spaghetti and they stylize it into what I can only describe as an ethereal soul hip-hop vibe. The bass line here is hella smooth and it gives the track such a chill and cool feeling. I especially love the moments where the foreground melody drops and it's just the bass with that dope beat in the back. This just slays for me. There's a verse where the bass line drops for like 4 measures and then it's like, hey, yo, bring that bass back. Let's pause for a minute here. I mean, literally pause the game and take a listen to our next track. There's a level of comfort that I find in this song. I'm 90% sure that's what the composers were aiming for with how they designed this one. The way this sounds to me feels like the type of relaxing music you'd probably play for smaller audiences, if you catch my meaning, those stinky, smelly, smaller audiences. In fact, let me go even deeper and remark that this personally gives me Little Big Planet 2 vibes. You know that opening cutscene? Any LBP fans? Well, those who played the game will know what I mean, only it's been hip-hopified. Thoughts, Average?
It's chill. The pause theme is very laid back. It's the perfect break from all the high-octane madness that Pizza Tower is. Sometimes when I'm just messing with the settings, I gotta stop and let the music play out a bit. It's great for catching your breath before going back into the chaos.
Now it's time for a boss fight. First up on the bracket is Pepperman.
Somehow, they nailed the theme for boss fight against a pompous jerk perfectly. Pepperman is a brute, but also an artist. And this song fits that to a T. Like, he'll bowl you over and knock you flat, but he'll also make sure to draw the perfect masterpiece of him bowling you over and knocking you flat. Oh, what a jerk. The song is really good though. The guitar absolutely wailing away is so good, and the second half of the song speeding up helps make this fight feel like it's reaching a good climax.
I think that this one hits pretty hard as well. What I especially love about the sped up portion is that synth keyboard transition right at the start. Okay, now forgive me because I am a Rhythm Heaven fan, so I feel obligated to point this out. There's a voice clip in this that goes, and it sounds exactly like Rhythm Heaven DS Remix 2, which goes, that's just fantastic that they decided to use that same voice clip. It makes the Rhythm Heaven fan part of me all giddy.
They did the thing. They did the, oh yeah thing.
Shut up, Rhythm Heaven part of me. Oh, well, would you look at the time? I think we're going to have to wrap it up for today, guys. What do you think, Average? You having fun so far?
I'm having a blast, Mikey. I will take literally any opportunity to geek out about Pizza Tower, and getting to do it with you has been so much fun. We're going to keep doing this next time for more Pizza Tower songs, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see that.
Yes, and please go ahead and subscribe to Average Boy. His link is in the description. Touch that ding dong to get notified whenever a new episode drops. And if you guys didn't like this one, don't worry. You can still leave a like and a comment and subscribe. Touch that ding dong, and I will see you guys then.